Hi, everybody. Welcome to Diamond Effect podcast episode. And I'm super excited about this one because I have my client with me here, Paola. And this episode is going to air on Women's Day, International Women's Day. And I think it's such a great coincidence that this is happening because I'm here with Paola to talk about running a business as a woman, running a business as a mom, why we started businesses, and how we feel about running a successful business. And I don't think there's enough women voices out there. Unfortunately, business has been run by men for hundreds and hundreds of years, or like at least the way we think about successful business and so on. So now, as more women enter the business world, we get to redefine a little bit what that means and what do we think about it. So, Paula, I'm great that we're doing it. I'm so happy that we're doing it. So please introduce yourselves to everybody and also share a little bit of a story. Why did you start your business?
I will. So thank you, Maggie, for having me. This is my second time on the podcast, and I'm excited to be here. I love our conversations. I love our coaching calls. So any opportunity to chit chat about business related things, I always take the opportunity. But yeah, so my name is Paola. I run a balloon business in the Greater Toronto area, neighboring cities. I started this business about 2.5 years ago now in service of the lifestyle that my family and I really wanted for ourselves. So my daughter was born 2.5 years ago. And before that, I was working on 9 to 5 for a school board. And when I was about halfway through my mat leave, I realized I don't want to return for various reasons, but the main one being I do want to be the full-time at-home caregiver for my family, for my children.
Mhm.
And that's a little bit unconventional in our society, I think. I'm noticing, and especially in our areas, just basic cost of living, it's almost impossible to not
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
both parents, working. So
Mhm.
I had to get really creative with how I can supplement our income. And it turned into, long story short, having this business. And it's something I do run part-time, but it's with Maggie's help growing a lot, and I'm having a lot of success with it. So I'm very grateful for it. But I'm not hustling to get there. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, yes, that's definitely what we're going to talk about because you're right. And that studies show that as women, if not primary reason, then at least one of the reasons, because it was for me as well, we start our businesses to have some flexibility to also be with our families, right? We're not willing, or at least majority of us, we're not willing to sacrifice our professional career, or to actually the other way, to sacrifice our personal lives and time we have with our children and families for professional career, whether it's in corporate or in business, right? So we definitely, one of the reasons we start businesses is to have that flexibility where we can have both. Okay. But yes, we definitely want to go into talking about hustle because there is this mentality that as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you got to hustle to make it, right? You got to hustle, hustle, hustle. And I think we have a different viewpoint on that and very strong opinions. And excuse me, I think they're valuable, and maybe we'll start like a movement here with this podcast. So and the idea came really from your reel that kind of went viral a little bit. And when I saw it, I was like, yes, girl, I'm so proud of you. And we got to talk about more about it. So let's start there. So talk about the reel, talk about the conversations, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so essentially I was leaving an install a few Fridays ago, and I was moving into a weekend that I had intentionally taken off. I didn't have anything Saturday and Sunday, and I run a decor business, event decor, and most of my events, 90% of my events are on the weekends. So, and my husband works a 9 to 5. So if we want family time, it's next to impossible unless I'm intentionally taking that time off.
Yeah.
So just as I was leaving, I handed my phone to someone who works with me, and I said, can you just take a video of me rolling my cart out the door? I have a little real idea that would touch on this very topic. And essentially the caption was, here's something I'm never going to build my business on. And if you read the caption further, it was basically hustle,
Mhm.
ways that I avoid um, taking hard work and kind of falling into that hustle. Because I do
Mhm.
think that you could, hard work and hustle look the same if you're looking at it like in one given moment, but there is obviously difference.
Yeah.
So I guess 95% of people who commented and reached out to me directly in my DMs really resonated with that. And I think they felt like like someone saying it, because I'm tired of the hustle. I'm tired of being told, to
Mhm.
grind and work really hard and go, go, go. And I can never really stop. And it was refreshing for a lot of them to just hear someone who is running a successful business say, it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm in
Mhm.
no means a coach or a guru. I'm very new to learning about business, but from my life experience thus far, being a mom, being an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
doing both at the same time, um, there are ways to find
Mhm.
success without the hustle.
I Hey, I agree with that, and that's probably no coincidence. You're my client because I actually believe, and we'll talk about the differences between hustle and hard work and how we understand it. But I actually believe that hustle is old school. It's totally overrated. And it actually prevents you from running a successful business long term. Okay. Maybe short term, it could work, but what I also mean by running a successful business is running a business in a way that you also have life that you love. And I believe that it prevents you because ultimately with hustle, something's got to give. And very often that's been the case in the male run businesses where it's the family that's got to give, or a mental health that's got to give, or physical health that's got to give for what, right? For money that you can't even enjoy anymore,
Yeah.
or because it's gone on treating your health, or because you're alone and it's not even like fun anymore, or whatever the case might be. And I also believe, so one more thing is that when we're truly hustling, ultimately we're a bit of in the survival mode. It's just go, 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 go. You get overworked and so on. And from that place, it's actually hard to take good, calculated, strategic business decisions. So the decisions you make create more of the hustle, more of the fire. And again, short term, it could be successful, but long term, it could actually hurt you because you don't know what type of decision and creative solutions you would have if you actually were rested, fully balanced, and felt good when you just hustle, right? So that's like totally my mind. I think it's old school. I think like tell it it's high performance for me when you're really balanced as a human. I think that's a better and smarter way to grow the business, and you end up better
Yeah.
off anyways. But let's talk about what it means for you, like the difference between hustle and hard work, because I believe there is a difference. And when I coach you guys, I don't mean we don't work hard. We do work hard, but we also don't hustle. So tell me what is your thought about it?
Yeah, and it's no surprise to me that I found you and connected with you, and that I really am finding a lot of benefit in working with you. There have been other sort of coach-like people, whether it's someone doing a social media training or whatnot, where I'll let's do a little consultation, but I'll immediately get like, oh, that's a lot of energy for me, a lot of like just a lot, and I can't
Mhm.
digest any of it. But with you, it's very different. So I'm not surprised to hear this is your outlook too. But reflecting on the difference of between hustle and hard work in business, hustle to me is a state of being, a state that someone
Mhm.
exists in, a state that persists no matter what task they're doing at any given moment. So
Mhm.
visual for me is a ton of multitasking, on a business call and at the gym or in the car, rather than just
Mhm.
working out or just driving, being present. It
Mhm.
feels, it gives me such like a visceral feeling, like feeling rushed or hurried or
Mhm.
chaotic, unsettling, restless. It feels like forcing something that isn't meant to be. It isn't really working. It's just you're going so fast that you don't have the time to stop and go, yeah, that isn't working. Um,
Mhm.
in my mind, the sole purpose of hustle is to prove something to yourself or
Mhm.
someone else rather than to just complete a valuable task that's going to serve your business and then move on.
Mhm.
Someone in hustle mode maybe doesn't have a balance in life. They don't get their 8 hours. They work really late into the evening. They don't have a good,
Mhm.
like a lifestyle piece that you coach us on, Maggie, is having a good morning and evening
Mhm.
routine, even if it's
Mhm.
10 minutes and 15 minutes, right? But I
Mhm.
think in hustle, there is no intentional space for that. You know, they can't stop thinking about work. They sacrifice good eating habits for convenience because they can't justify stopping what they're doing to nourish themselves properly. High stress, high anxiety. Even just
Mhm.
talking about it, I'm like, "Ugh, I'm getting hot. I don't like this. I just don't. I I've I think in the past, maybe in younger years in university, I maybe adopted this mentality, thinking that's the way to succeed. And
Mhm.
I think I've grown a lot out of that now. But to talk about it again, it's just it doesn't work. It doesn't fit. Whereas hard work is something maybe done for a period of time, you know, to
Mhm.
complete a specific task, and then
Right.
it's always balanced by periods of rest and restoration. And like I said earlier, hard work and hustle can look the same in a moment.
Mhm.
The difference to me is that hard work is an isolated period of time rather than a prolonged
Mhm.
state of being. So someone can work hard on a task, feel good about it, put it away, and then move on to be fully
Right.
present in something else, whether that's another work related task, being with family, having a meal, whatever it may be. But there's a sense of fulfillment in hard work. But in hustle, there seems to be no end, no goal met or metric
Yes.
achieved that feels satisfying enough to stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I love that because you're right. For me, it also comes from the energy, right? When you're working hard, you're focused, you're giving all your attention and energy to that project on end, the task can end. But I think from hard work, you can also go into that state of flow when you are so creative and so productive that, yeah, kind of time disappears. So in moments you might even forget, oh my God, I've been working for 4 hours, I haven't noticed. But it ultimately, you finish that, and as you say, you're able to be grounded and present and sort of move on to something else and be fulfilled and accomplished because there was a task. Whereas with hustle, I think hustle also comes from scarcity mindset. It's just like, I can't say no to this client because who knows if there will be another one. So I have to sacrifice, let's say, a family weekend or a birthday or whatever, because what if that deal doesn't come through? And then I'm, not even trusting and believing that it's okay. There's another client, there's another deal. You can stop, you can pause and do something else that's important to you, right? So yeah, I think you're right that maybe in the moment when you see somebody working hard and hustling, if you don't feel their energy, it could look the same. But I think if you could feel the energy of the person, you would see the difference.
Mm.
And hustle, as you say, kind of never stops. It's always there. Go, 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 go. One thing, second thing, here's the fire, here's the thing. No time to pause. And as you say, you might be doing things that are not even working or are not working as well as they could because you're not pausing and looking back. Whereas hard work is, I value my time, I value my effort, I'm present, I look back, I see what's working, what's not, and I keep tweaking and getting better. So then the time I spend working is used really productively and creates compounded results. So I don't have to hustle, right?
I like
Because
what you say about energy. It's like that's exactly right. Whether it's the energy you're experiencing or you're feeling from somebody else, it is sort of at an energy level where either you're flowing and it feels
yes, yeah,
natural and authentic, and like hard work, yeah, you're going out of your comfort zone. So that might be a bit of discomfort there, but it isn't this like throwing yourself against the wall and trying to do the same thing over and over and over and over again and it not working, like this kind of non-integrated way of operating. I like that energy uh phrasing that you used.
yeah, I really don't think, and maybe somebody will prove us wrong, but I really don't think you can go into that flow, the most effective, creative, productive state in hustle. I
Yeah.
think it's just you're really operating at kind of low energy, very like survivish type of mode that you just don't have access to that.
Yeah.
Whereas with hard work and sort of balance, and ultimately the only way you'll get there is if you have balance, as you say, when you have rest and recharge times and also do things outside of work that fill your cup. I was just coaching one of the clients this week, and she had this period of really hard work, not hustle, but hard work of couple of projects that were kind of together. And she was tired and emotionally drained. And at the same time, we're working a little bit on something that she wants to grow in an area that requires energy, right? When you learn something new and it's hard and you're scared, you require that energy, but you can do it when your cup is empty. So, we coach like, you gotta rest, you gotta fill your cup again to be able to then attack that new thing that we're working on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Totally agree.
Okay, so let's now talk about just about something I mentioned in the beginning. Do you think that when you're hustling, right, it actually hurts your success, especially long term, but even shorter term? And yeah, like, do you agree with that or not? What are your thoughts about it?
Yeah, I think society has led us to believe that you can't be successful in business if you're not hustling. Like as if you find time to rest, then you aren't working hard enough. And I think I bought into that for a long time. Like I personally sometimes struggle to rest because of those intrusive thoughts. And what a silly thought. Like,
Mhm.
of course we need rest. How did we get here?
Yeah.
We're buying into that, right? Or we don't even maybe notice we are buying into it. But will hustling generate some short-term monetary success? Maybe. But
Mhm.
again, the question we both have is at what cost? Your health, your peace, your family, true joy. Like we all have a breaking point, a point at which we burn out.
Mhm.
And this can have serious repercussions beyond needing a few days off. It could be serious, sometimes unreversible health problems, broken relationships,
Mhm.
but also from a business perspective, and you touched on this already, Maggie, but the rush and the hurriedness of hustle also might mean you're making bad decisions for your business because you're not thinking through
Mhm.
next steps. The whole thinking smarter, not harder, working smarter, not harder
Mhm.
resonates here.
Mhm.
Said in our coaching a few times that you encourage examining your business regularly so that
Mhm.
you can weed out things that aren't working a lot faster and then in turn speeding up the growth of your business. So for example, as you know, my business started as a balloon gifting business,
Mhm.
selling stuffed balloons. About 6 months in, before I started working with you, I started to pivot to event decor because I was very attracted to that. I thought, well, that would be cool. It looked like such a hard thing to do and I wanted to try it out. And I was still offering stuffed balloons, but the real money was being made in decor. It
Mhm.
was. But because I wasn't in the habit of assessing my business strategies regularly until I met you, I continued to use my time and marketing dollars to promote stuffed balloons, even though they weren't working for me anymore.
Mhm.
It took another probably year to make the choice to drop the gifting element and go all in on decor. And that decision was a business game changer. And
Mhm.
I could have made that decision a lot sooner had I taken some time to pause and
Mhm.
reflect. So if someone's hustling, perhaps they're missing opportunities to pause long enough to reflect on how things are going, what
Yeah.
products they're pushing or strategies they're using that are not actually serving them and that
Uh-huh.
are holding them back from achieving more. And that absolutely hurts their success, short term and long term.
Yeah. Yeah. And I 100% agree with that. And I think that with hustle, you also unnecessarily throw yourself into challenges that you don't have to, right? And it's not to say that when you're more strategic and you take time to pause and reflect and work hard, that you will never, you know, come across challenges. You do, but less. You don't create fires when you're hustling. You're the ones creating fires as well that then just mount up. Whereas
Good.
when you're more strategic and so on, you can prevent some of the high fires. At least you're not creating unnecessary fires. And you can, as I say, when you pause and reassess, we get to use the Pareto principle. So Pareto principle tells you that 20% of your efforts create 80% of your results. And that really
Write
works
that down.
everywhere. Yeah. Or 80% of your profits come usually for 20% of the customers, right? So like that Pareto works, that principle works pretty much anywhere. To a fault sometimes. So when you pause and reassess, what it allows you to do is focus more on that 20% of actions and forget about the 80 busy things, 80% of busy stuff that barely creates anything, and then amplify that. And that's where the compounded results come from. Because if I take that 20% and I focus even within that 20 on the 20 that
Yeah.
makes most, creates most results and effect in my business, and I keep doing that, that's how you keep growing without any time, without hustling, right? But it takes thinking and
Yeah.
pausing and looking back and assessing. And you can't do that when you hustle, hustle, hustle. Just go, 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 go. And trying to almost, like, I feel about it like it's like I'm a locomotive who got off the track and I just can't stop, and I'm going, right? And I'm through the sheer power, I'm trying to remove all the blocks, but at some point I'll stop. I'll run out of steam.
And you're not even on the track anymore. So you're not
Yeah,
going in the right direction.
yeah,
You're all like all over
exactly.
the place. You're
Exactly.
spinning out. You're not even moving forward. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a really good analogy, actually. That resonates.
Okay, so one last thing that I wanted to us to talk about is how creating your own balance and sort of boundaries as you run your business, and the self-care and everything that you do to run your business helps you to be successful and keep growing your business, but also feel fulfilled and happy in your life.
Yeah, I think the ways people build balance in really depends on their goals
Mhm.
and life situation. And hard work is, I think, a deeply individual term, meaning everyone has their own idea of how much, what type, or how long hard work becomes before it is hustle, like
Yeah.
what's hard work and then what's hustle. And I
Mhm.
think that's different for everyone. So another reason to be able to stop, reflect on where you're at, where on the line you are
Mhm.
between hard work and hustle. My situation, like I said, is unique that I run a business from home part-time because my main goal is to have something that supplements our income enough so that I can be the primary full-time caregiver for my children.
Mhm.
My
Mhm.
metric for success is intentional quality time with my daughter, not necessarily revenue. Like I have a goal, I have a target goal of what I'd like to make every month, every year, right? And where I
Mhm.
want to see that. But as soon as I feel like I haven't been present enough to my family, that's
Mhm.
my nudge to stop and reevaluate. And that's different for everybody. So that's okay.
Mhm.
But some ways I've created balance. Number one is building one weekend a month off to have family time, like I said,
Mhm.
right? About that reel. My husband works 9 to 5. Me being in the event industry, I'm busier on weekends. So if I'm not intentional with my time off, my family would rarely have fruitful, fulfilling time together, which is not okay with us. Number two is hiring employees. So I
Mhm.
got a bit of pushback on that reel from just one gentleman who I don't even know, but basically I said that I refuse to build my business off hustle. So
Mhm.
one thing I do is I hire help. And his
Yeah.
feedback is that I cut my profits in half or in by a third or three, whatever, by doing so, which is a common misconception
Yes.
among new and small business owners to think of hiring others and giving your profits away to somebody else is a bit scary. But in reality, hiring help has created space in my business
Mhm.
for growth, to
Yeah.
take more projects, to build a bigger portfolio. And I'm so much less stressed and burnt out. And that's huge. And this is kind of harkening back to our last episode. Because I run a creative business, I am
Mhm.
making balloon art. I cannot be creative in a state of stress, overwhelm, and hustle. Those
Mhm.
two, they don't go hand in hand, which is why I'm adamant about protecting my peace while running this business.
Mhm.
Um, I really do lose all access to that creative energy when my nervous system is out of whack. And
Oh yeah.
that's just
Oh yeah.
brain science, right? So, which is again a nod back to that last podcast episode. I would argue that all business leadership requires being creative, right? And that's what we
Yes.
talked about in that
Yeah.
episode. Even if you're selling homes, even if you're not selling art, you're selling homes, um, without making time for that rest and recreation, recreation, our creativity really suffers. And
Yes.
then so does our business. So I think what you've helped me with, Maggie, and what a coach can help small business owners with is strategizing. So
Yes.
that's not what I'm good at, but essentially choosing actions that produce the most amount of return, working smarter, not harder, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, strategy is creative. and engages kind of the same part of your brain, and you can't strategize where you go. It's just like not possible. I don't think it's science physically or whatever biologically possible for
Yeah.
us to do that, to go and be strategic at the same time. No, the brain kind of switches. We're being strategic. That's we need space and time for it. That's when we plan. And when there's an execution time, we go into that mode of execution. And it's almost impossible to do like both at the same time, if not completely impossible. I, don't quote me. I'm also not a
Sounds
neuroscientist.
like me.
But I agree with it. It is a common misconception among small business owners that hiring people cuts your profit. No, it creates room for growth. Yes, it temporarily can, right? If I'm giving away, let's say, some of the work that I'm doing, but then as a CEO, that's my job to go and grow the business. If that's my goal, right? Like that doesn't have to be your goal. As I say, everybody has their own goals, and if you want to keep your business small where you're the only person who provides the service and so on, that's fine, but you can't expect to have a multi-million-dollar business doing everything on your own. It's just not possible, right? So when you hire people, it creates that capacity for you without adding time and sacrificing other things to grow the business, just as you say.
Yeah, those moments of rest and being able to assess have also allowed me to discern which activities in the business burn me out slower. So if I do any activity for too long, I'm going to burn out. But I know that if I'm creating balloon art, I love it. I put music on, a podcast on, an ebook, and I can go for hours and I'm flowing, like what you said earlier. I'm just loving it. However, if I'm doing sales or marketing, you have 30 minutes and I'm done because I burn out quickly. Whereas if I offload that to someone else and bring on someone who that's something that comes very naturally to them, they're very adept at that task, it's only going to benefit the whole business, right? So it's all multi-layered, but makes a lot of sense to me to again needing that rest to strategize and make better decisions for business. It just can't be done without it.
Yeah. And like just to, I guess, to the defense of everybody, like hustle has been the approved way, let's just say, to run business. And maybe we haven't known any better because there weren't enough people who would say, no, we don't do that. Because when you look, actually, there's so many people and they didn't have platforms, millionaires, people who are really wealthy, and they didn't do hustle. They
Yeah.
don't. They protect their thinking space. They protect their rest. They protect the quality of the life because they know that this is what creates their success. And I don't think there's enough of those voices. But now I think as women, as we enter more and more business, we're more vocal about it because it's so important to us. It's families. So that's why I really think hustle is over. It's old school and it's not even the best way to run a business, and it will change. I do believe that the whole hustle mentality will go away. It might take, I don't know,
More decades.
more decades, a few more
But
decades, but
I see the change. I do, like even in the last decade, I do see a change. And maybe it's my circumstances have changed, but I see the pattern
Mhm.
shifting. There's more of an awareness of like
Yeah,
wellness, the need for proper sleep and
yeah.
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that I maybe haven't asked you, or anything that's on your mind that we haven't talked about that you want to say before we finish?
I feel like we really covered a lot there. And I walk away with more insight on the topic too, that I'm ready to go and rest.
Great, perfect. Yes, we're recording it on Friday, so we're
I'm
gonna
finding
go and
around.
rest. Me too. I'm ready. So where people can find you if they want to get in touch with you or see your beautiful work, because definitely you need to see Paola's work. I love it. Like, I love your creativity. Even in creating reels, you're so creative. So
Yeah, so I'm mostly active on Instagram in terms of social media. So you can find me on socials in general at BallooniqueTO. That's balloon, BalloonIqueTO. And I have a website, so www.balloonique.ca. That's where you can reach me if you're local and have an event upcoming. I'm not really traveling internationally yet to do my balloons, but if you're in the GTA and surrounding areas, I'd love to connect.
yeah, that's great. And we'll put those references in the show notes. And I think I will also reference the first podcast episode where we talked about creativity and so on in the show notes. So if you want to check that one out, it will be available as well. But hey, thank you very much, Paula, for this wonderful interview. It's been great. And happy International Women's Day for all our female listeners. Bye.
Thanks. Have a good one.